Welcome to my channel, students. So now we'll discuss unit 3 of communication engineering, that is digital modulation techniques, sample MCQ questions. So the question 1 is, which of the following is not a linear modulation technique? So in digital modulation you have to tell which is not linear modulation. So here given are OQPSK, pi by 4 QPSK, FSK, BPSK. So out of these, the FSK is known as, this is not a linear modulation technique. Okay. And in BPSK, the dash of constant amplitude carrier signal is switched between two values according to the two possible values. So in BPSK, which parameter is varying? So it is the phase. The phase is the parameter that is varying between two possible values. And by applying cos of 2 pi ft, BPSK signal is equivalent to. By applying cos 2 pi ft, the BPSK signal is equivalent to a double sideband suppressed carrier amplitude modulated wave. So this is a very important thing. So when you apply cos of 2 pi ft to a BPSK signal, then it becomes a DSB, double sideband suppressed carrier AM signal. And then question, BPSK uses non-coherent demodulator. So whether the statement is true or false, you have to say. So BPSK is binary phase shift keying. So BPSK is a non-coherent demodulator. So actually the statement is false because it's a coherent demodulator. It has coherent demodulation. Coherency in the sense, at the receiver side you need the detail of phase and frequency of the carrier at the transmitter also. And DPSK uses coherent form of PSK. So this statement is false. DPSK uses coherent form of PSK, they have said, but actually it uses non-coherent form of PSK. In DPSK system, input signal is differentially encoded and then modulated using a dash modulator. Differentially encoding purpose. In DPSK, differential encoding is done, and later that it is modulated using a dash modulator. So the answer for this question is BPSK modulator. So DPSK is differentially encoded and then it is sent into a BPSK modulator. So this thing you can study, and actually if you know the block diagram of DPSK, then you can answer for this question. So these are all the parts that comes from the basic blocks of these process like DPSK, BPSK processing blocks. And the energy efficiency of DPSK is dash to coherent PSK. So it is a comparison between DPSK and PSK, the energy efficiency. So the energy efficiency is inferior, that is the answer, compared to coherent PSK. And the next question is, the QPSK has dash the bandwidth efficiency of BPSK. So the bandwidth comparison between QPSK and BPSK. So it is twice the bandwidth. The QPSK has twice the bandwidth efficiency of BPSK. QPSK has twice the bandwidth efficiency of BPSK. This thing you should remember well, because most of the time they may ask like this comparisons, the bandwidth energy comparisons. So in QPSK has twice the bandwidth than the BPSK. And next thing, the question is, QPSK provides twice the bandwidth efficiency and dash energy efficiency as compared to BPSK. So the same thing here, they are comparing the bandwidth efficiency as well as the energy efficiency. So the energy efficiency is compared with QPSK and BPSK. So the comparison is same for both these cases. Then what is the full form of OQPSK? So QPSK, you know, quadrature phase shift keying. O in the sense it is offset quadrature phase shift keying. So like these kind of expansions you have to study, because they may ask the expansions like TDM, FDM, TDMA, FDMA, like BPSK, QPSK, these kind of expansions you study. The bandwidth of OQPSK, the next question, is dash to QPSK. Bandwidth of OQPSK, that is offset quadrature phase shift keying, is identical to QPSK. That is OQPSK and QPSK bandwidth are identical. Then in an M-array signaling scheme, 2 or more bits are grouped together to form a symbol. So in M-array signaling scheme, 2 or more bits are formed together to form a symbol. M-array modulation schemes have very good power efficiency. So actually the statement given is false because the M-array modulation schemes have poor power efficiency. The constellation of M-array PSK is two-dimensional. So the constellation of M-array PSK has two-dimensional. And what is the radius of the circle in M-array PSK on which the message points are equally spaced? So the radius of circle in M-array PSK, so it is a root of ES. So where ES is the symbol energy, and as the value of M dash, the bandwidth efficiency dash. So the value of M increases, the bandwidth efficiency will also increase. So in M-array, the M value increases, bandwidth efficiency will also increase. And the next question is, in QAM, amplitude is dash and phase is dash. In quadrature amplitude modulation, we know amplitude is varied and phase is also varied. So both amplitude, phase are varied in QAM. And the M-array QAM signal have constant energy. So the statement given is wrong because they don't have constant energy per symbol. So the reason it is given in the explanation, you can read it. So the M-array QAM have they don't have constant energy. And the bandwidth efficiency of M-array FSK signal dash with dash in M. That means the bandwidth efficiency comparison here of FSK signal is decreases with increase in M. The bandwidth efficiency will decrease with increasing M. And the power efficiency of M-array FSK increases since the M signals are orthogonal. So this is the reason for the power efficiency of M-array FSK signals. And the method in which the tail of one pulse smears into adjacent symbol interval is called. So this is nothing but merging of pulses, one pulse mixing with another pulse. So this is called as intersymbol interference. Very important term. There are 2 marks and all, they will ask this definition. And a Nyquist pulse is the one which can be represented by dash shaped pulse. So it is sin C shaped pulses. Nyquist pulses represented as sin C pulses. And the minimum Nyquist bandwidth for rectangular spectrum in raised cosine filter. So it is inverse of 2t, that is 1 by 2t. So this is the minimum Nyquist bandwidth for the rectangular spectrum in raised cosine filter. And a pulse shaping filter should satisfy 2 requirements. So they should be reliable and should have proper roll-off factor. Reliable and proper roll-off factor. So these 2 are the important factors. Intersymbol interference leads to dash probability of the receiver for making an error in detecting the symbols. So it leads to increased probability of the receiver for making an error in detecting the symbols. Because the intersymbol interference causes the increase in error, no. See, since the pulses are merging together, so at the output they could not be identified separately. ISI is dash by increasing channel. So ISI is minimized if we increase the channel bandwidth. So the answer for this question is minimized. Intersymbol interference can be minimized by increasing the channel bandwidth. And why is pulse shaping technique used? So pulse shaping techniques are used mainly to reduce the intersymbol interference. And who was the first to solve the problem of intersymbol interference? ISI is inter-symbol interference. So it is Nyquist. And the method in which a small amount of controlled ISI is introduced into the data stream rather than trying to eliminate it completely is called correlative coding, duobinary coding, partially response signaling. So all the mentioned choices, they use the technique that is introducing a small amount of inter-symbol interference into the data stream and eliminating that again finally. So this method controls, this method is used and the method using which the error propagation in duobinary signaling can be avoided is pre-coding. To avoid the error propagation in the duobinary, pre-coding is used. And in pre-coding technique, the binary sequence is XORed with the previous pre-coded bit. You might have seen that pre-coded diagram, block diagram, duobinary coding. So the pre-coding technique involves the binary sequence XORed with the previous pre-coded bit. Okay, so the answer is XOR. And the duobinary filter HE of F is called as, the duobinary filter is cosine filter. In I pattern, the range of amplitude difference gives the value of the range of amplitude difference, that gives the value of the distortion. How much is the distortion? That can be identified with the range of amplitude. And as the eye opens, ISI, so the eye opening in what it indicates is the ISI decreases, that is the inter-symbol interference is decreasing. So as the eye opens, ISI decreases. Which of the following is not an advantage of digital modulation? So digital modulation has greater noise immunity, greater security, easier multiplexing, less bandwidth requirement. So out of these choices, choice D is the wrong one because it is not an advantage of digital modulation, less bandwidth requirement. So that is the wrong choice. In digital communication techniques, in order to increase noise immunity, it is necessary to increase signal power. To improve the noise immunity, signal power must be improved. Increasing the data rate implies the increase in pulse width of digital symbol. If you want to increase the data rate, it means the increase in pulse width of the symbol. So actually it is false statement because the relationship between data rate and bandwidth is actually the correct one. Bandwidth and the data rate are related. So the increasing data rate implies decreasing pulse width of the digital symbol, which increases the bandwidth of the signal. So this is the relation. Okay. So in this topic we discussed some of the important MCQ questions in this unit 3 digital modulation techniques. So we'll see the remaining topics in the next video, students. Go through the questions. Thank you.